Rad Accounting Tutorials. Today we have a question on job costing. Job costing. So before I continue, please subscribe to the channel so you have access to all my videos. Let's subscribe to the channel. So simply put, when you say job costing, it's just determine the cost of a particular job. That is the whole meaning of job costing. So if you are assigned to do a particular job, they are asked to determine the cost of that particular job. So if a carpenter makes a chair and you are asked to find cost of that particular job, is what we mean by job costing. So if you want to determine the cost of a product, cost of production of a product, it is always the prime cost plus the overhead. You should never forget this. It's always the prime cost plus the overheads. So now let's go to the question. I read.
Kwame Enterprise is a factory dealing in the manufacture and sale of spare parts to vehicles in the West Africa sub-region. It has two departments, namely carting and welding departments. The following information relates to the year ended 31st December 2021. So we have the two departments, that's the carting and the welding, where we have the production overheads, 9,000, 6,000 for the carting and welding respectively. We have direct labor hours, which is 3,000 and 1,000 respectively. Machine hours, which is 1,500 and 3,000 respectively. And we have the wages rate, which is 2 cedi and 3 cedis. Carting and welding respectively. The overhead in the carting department is absorbed on a direct labor hours basis, and in the welding department on machine hour basis. The information below relates to a certain spare parts, that is job number 045. Material used is 600. Another welding department, the hours spent on the machine is 20 and the labor hours spent is 5. And under the carting department, the hours spent on the machine is 2 and labor hours spent is 10. And there was a high of special machine, which is 15 cedis. Administration overhead is to be 25% of the cost of production, and profit margin is also 25% of the selling price. You are required to prepare a detailed cost estimate of the component.
So when you look at this question has two departments, the carting department and the welding department. Each department has its details. Thus, carting department has a production overhead of 9,000 and the welding department has a production overhead of 6,000. Direct labors and the machine hours are also different, and thus wages rates which are also different. So what you do for, because this one they have different production overheads, means you have to find the overhead absorption rate for each department. You have to find the overhead absorption rate for each department. And if you want to find the overhead absorption rate, then it is your total overheads. So the overhead absorption rate divided by the recommended based on your recommended absorption rates. So if you want to find the overhead absorption rate, this is the formula. So since each department has its own production overheads, let's find the overhead absorption rate for each department. So for the carting department, the total overheads for the cutting department is 9,000. It's 9,000. And when you look at the question says that the overhead in the cutting department is absorbed on direct labor hours. So the recommended base, absorption base for the cutting department is the direct labor hour. So it means this we are going to divide by what? The direct labor hours. And the direct labor hours for the cutting department is 3,000. 3,000. So when we cancel this, we are going to have 3. So the overall absorption rate for the cutting department is 3 cedis per direct labor, per direct labor. Sorry, per direct labor hour. So that is for the cutting department. The overall absorption rate for the cutting department is 3 cedis per direct labor hour. Then we come to the welding department. So when we come to the welding department, the total 1,000. And when you look at the question, it said in the welding department, the absorption base is what? Machine hours base. So here, the absorption base for the welding department is what? The machine hours. They absorb the overheads on the basis of machine hours. It means we have to divide by the machine hours. So the machine hours for the welding department is 3,000. So 3,000. So 3,000. When we cancel this, then we're going to have 2 cities. So the overall absorption rate for the welding department is 2 cedis per machine hour. So that is our absorption rate for each department. This is our absorption rate for each department. So now if we have our absorption rate, then we can find our cost, on the component. So let's determine the cost. And if you want to determine the cost, it is always your prime cost plus your overheads. And your prime cost consists of all your direct costs. That is your prime cost. So we have one that we add them. So when we look at the question, say the material used for the job is 600 Ghana cedis. So we write material used. So material job costing is very easy. It's not difficult. So we have material. We have our material. Then we find our labor costs. So after finding our material, we find our labor cost. So our labor cost. So before the product will come out, it's going to pass through these two departments. If you get it, it's going to pass through these two departments. So, and this department gets the labor cost for each department, because every department there are laborers who are going to work on this job. So we have to get the labor cost for each department. So we have cutting departments. The wage rate for the cutting department is what? 2 cedis. The wage rate for the cutting department is 2 cedis. And in the cutting department, the labor hours spent is what? 10. So for us to get the labor cost for the cutting department, 10 cedis. 10 cedis times 2, which will give us, let me write. Let's see. For the welding department, spent in the welding department is what? 5. So we have a labor cost of 35. We have a labor cost of 35. Then when we look at the question also should say high of special machine. I was a high of special machine. So the machine was high specifically for the job. So which means it's a direct expense. So if it is a direct expense, then we need to add it. So direct expense machine, which is 15 So now we add the 635 and 15. And we are going to have 650. So the 650 will be our prime cost. So now we have our prime cost. Now that we have our prime cost, we find our overheads. So we find our overheads. Department has overheads. So we multiply the overhead absorption rate by the basis. So when you look at the overhead, the welding department, so the overheads, let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about the cost. So here is where we are going to talk about the overheads. So yeah, now you find the overhead absorption rate. The overhead absorption rate for the cutting department, that's what we first calculated for. So the overhead absorption rate for the cutting department was 3 cedis per direct labor. So this one, the overhead absorption rate is what? 3 cedis. So we multiply by the basis. So in the cutting department, the basis for absorbing overheads is the direct labor cost. So we multiply the absorption rate, which is 3, by the hours spent. So since this one, the cutting department, the overheads were absorbed on the basis of direct labor. You multiply by the direct labor hours spent in the cutting department. Please, do you get it? Yes. So when you look at the question, and the cutting department, the labor hours spent is what? 10. So we multiply it, then we come to the welding department too. The overhead absorption rate is what? 2. So you put the overhead absorption rate. Now when it comes to the overhead absorption rate, the overheads are absorbed on the basis of the what? Machine hours. So when you pick the overhead absorption rate, you multiply by the machine hours spent on the job. So the machine hours, when it comes to the body department, the machine hours spent on the job is what? 20 hours. So you multiply the rate by what? 20 hours, which is so overhead 70. So now we add our prime cost to our overheads to get what? So 650 plus 70 will give us 720. So this is the cost, or this one is the cost of production, or the production cost. So that is our production cost. We add our prime cost to our overhead to get our production cost. So the cost of job number 045 is what? 720. And when you read further, they said administration overhead is to be 25% of the cost of production. So now the cost of production is 720, and they're saying that was a non-production overhead, which is the administration overhead. It is 25% of, so you find 25% of the 720, find 25% of the 720. So that would be the non-production overhead, which is non-production overhead. 5% is 720. So 8. 722, 180. Then you are going to get 900. Did you get it? So the 900 that you are going to get is the total cost of the job. Is the total cost of the job. Total cost of the job. So 900 is the total cost of the job. When you further read the question is saying that, and profit margin is also 25% of the selling price. 25%. So here we have profit margin is 25%. So then we only calculate margin on what? Selling price. And then here they've given us what? Margin. But then what we have here is cost. And we don't calculate margin on cost. What? Margin. So what we do is we will change the margin to what? Markup. Then we calculate the markup on the cost to get our profit. Then we can add our profit to our cost. So our margin is 100. So 25 over 100. So when we 25, so if you want to change from margin to markup, let the numerator, which is the 25, form the denominator. You get it? So we are changing margin to 100. Can use this to then 40. 1 over 3. Now 1 over 3 is a markup. Now we can calculate this markup on the total cost. So when you calculate the 1 over 3 on the total cost, which is 900, then we are going to have our profit. So our profit and the cost 900. So another price. So that is it. So you can see that when you calculate the margin, which was given to us in the question, it said our profit is 25% of our selling price, 25% on this selling price, which is 1,200. Realize you get 300, which is your profit. So that is all for job costing. If you have any question, please put it in the comment section and I will attend to that. So that is all for the job costing. If you have any question, put it in the comment section and I will attend to that. Please subscribe to the channel. I have more videos for you. If you want me to solve any question, please put it in the comment section and I will explain those questions to you. See you in my next video. Bye bye.